Hello. Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Women in Tech event. Thanks for joining us here on a Saturday morning. I'm Sneha. I'm one of the co-founders of Geektrust. I'll be doing a quick intro to the event today, and we'll then hand over to Aishwarya, who will introduce our speakers for the day and get started. So I have a quick question to ask you folks. Can you name some famous women in tech or famous names of women in tech that come to your mind? If you could put them in chat, I will read out from there. Yeah, I'm asking for names of people that come to your mind when we say women in tech or women founders, women entrepreneurs. Indra Nui, I see some Sridevi saying, yeah. Who else? Yeah, Falguni Nair, if you guys have heard of Nika, Kiran Majumdar, I see, yes, Sudha Murthy, Rebecca Parsons, Melanie Perkins, the founder of Canva. Recently in the news, we have Rajoshi Ghosh, founder of Hasura. Yeah, so essentially, lots of names that come to our mind these days. A few years ago, when I started Geektrust, this was about 7 years ago, I couldn't name so many people. And we've clearly come a long way, and things are getting a lot better from then on. Speaking of my own personal experience, I have seen this shift myself. So when we started, we used to go meet all our clients, and a lot of the times we would meet people who would refuse to acknowledge my presence and only speak and look at my co-founder. Sometimes so much that people would just assume I'm there to take notes. Yeah, but I'm glad that has changed over the last 5-7 years. Of late, I don't see this happening a lot more. This also says that there's a lot more acceptance, there's a lot more opportunities in the industry, and things are changing. Yes, they are slow, but they're definitely changing. So today across this event, we want to talk about the positives of how things are changing, how people are breaking the bias, how there are so many companies who want to actually walk the talk when it comes to diversity, and not just talk about it as a hashtag. Quickly, at Geektrust, we ourselves are very, very strong believers in diversity. Two of our senior most developers are women developers. 50% of our leadership is women. And across the board at Geektrust, we have 60% women in the company. And, we are strong believers of this. We can see a huge impact when we have so many women. The change in thought process, the energy that comes on the table. We really believe this. And we're also very thrilled that a lot of our clients also walk the talk when it comes to diversity. It's great to be helping these companies hire through us. So as part of this Women's Day, we've started a initiative of sponsoring women for a bootcamp program. So we'll be adding a link in the chat. You can look at all the details here. Essentially, we went out to all our companies and asked companies to sponsor women. This will be a 10-week hands-on training program, post which the companies can hire these developers as well. So this is a fully sponsored training program for all of you who are here with us today. You can look at the details of the link and enroll for this program if this interests you. We'll be starting our first batch from April 1st. And after the 10 weeks, you will be open to exploring the different opportunities at Geektrust as well. So with this initiative, we got about 15 companies sponsoring 65 women developers for this program. And today, the top 3 companies, Sahaj, Thoughtworks, and Medley, will be talking in our event today. We'll get to hear from women leaders from each of these companies. So yeah, without wasting too much time, let's hear from them. I'll hand over to Aishwarya. Aishwarya heads the Geektrust Labs vertical today, and she will be introducing the speakers and moving on with this. Hey, Aishwarya, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our program. Personally, I believe there are three main things that influence how women are treated in the workplace, how the workplace is for women. One is your support system, your family, the caregiving support that you have, and how your environment, personal environment around you is. The second is legislature, how the government supports and how the government mandates women are treated in an organization. Between the Maternity Amendment Act and the POSH law, I think we're way ahead of the curve and things are changing fantastically for the better. And the third and very, very underrated part of it is the inspiration you find from other women in technology and their personal lived experiences. And with that being said, and we're very happy to have three women leaders who will be sharing their experiences with us. We'll be starting with Nithya from Thoughtworks. Nithya is a lead consultant and she has 15 years of experience in building digital platforms and large-scale distributed applications. She's very passionate about mentoring women in technology and building future leaders. She's also been one of the anchors and she runs the APSI program, which is a program for women developers at Thoughtworks returning to work after a career break. Over to you, Nithya. We're looking forward to hearing your experiences and, really excited about the inspiration the other women are going to find from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwarya. Hello, everyone. I think Ashwarya already gave a brief intro about me, but probably I'll introduce myself a little more. Nithya, I'm currently working with Thoughtworks. I'm in the industry for the last 15 years, and of the 15 years, I've spent huge number of years in Thoughtworks. It's about 11 years in Thoughtworks. In fact, it feels forever. The kind of work that I do in Thoughtworks, I love it so much that I never felt like moving out of Thoughtworks, in fact. So I've been working on multiple technologies, multiple domains. In fact, I was also leading the India mobile community for a while. Like what Aishwarya mentioned, I've been running a Vapasi program for Thoughtworks, which actually focuses on bringing back women who have been on career break. In fact, we started off with doing Vapasi for devs, but we've also started doing it for QAs. It has been a hit. In fact, what we have seen is it's actually good to know some of the women who have been on career break. So when they come back to work, the amount of passion, the amount of enthusiasm, and the amount of dedication that they bring, right? It has been commendable. In fact, a lot of men who have been with Thoughtworks have come back and said that we have learned and we have had a lot of good experiences from the women who actually come from career break. So that has definitely been one of the most successful ones. So I am one of the anchors for the Vapsi program, which we do in Thoughtworks. And currently I'm playing a leadership role where I'm taking care of one of the accounts from a technical perspective. So how did I get into Thoughtworks? I thought of sharing my personal journey of how things have been in the IT industry for me. I mean, as a grad, I joined Bank of New York Mellon. I was there for 4 years. Formerly, it was known as Inotics Technologies. I was there for 4 years. In fact, I learned a lot. Right? It was a product company. I learned a lot. Had good experiences there. And then I thought, why not give it a shot somewhere else? I got another offer with a different company, and then I put down my papers. When I was about to join the other companies, when I heard about Thoughtworks from one of my colleagues who was in the earlier company, and then he had joined Thoughtworks recently, I was so impressed that I ended up attending interviews. Luckily, I got through, and the rest has been history. Right, I've been with Thoughtworks for about 11 years now. Something that I have loved working as an technologist out there is through and through. I've been a dev. I mean, multiple times in my career, I thought, should I switch to a different role? But as a dev, being a dev has been so rewarding for me because I ended up learning a lot of technologies. Was able to explore a lot of areas in terms of technologies and domains that I felt, okay, my heart is in being a developer. Let me continue being a developer. One of the other things that also happened in the recent past was I went on a maternity. I came back from maternity about 6 months back. So I have a 1-year-old son, and I initially had an inhibition that probably once I'm back to work, it will be a little difficult. I may have some stereotypes that, okay, I may not be able to perform. I mean, it was a bias that I had for myself. I also thought that others may also look at me the same way, but it was not that, right. I joined after the 6 months of maternity leave, and I was welcomed like anyone else in the organization. At no point in time was I even doubted that I'll not be able to do what I can intend to do. So currently I lead one of the bigger accounts in Thoughtworks. I'm the tech principal of that account. And of course, I mean, balancing work and personal life has been a bit challenging, but I've been getting a lot of support. And something that I would like to call out to anyone who wants to be in the IT industry, be it a grad, be it laterals, and or even women who've been on career break, is that it is one of the things. It is just a shift in the mindset that we can do. And in fact, things have come a long way, right? Earlier, probably 15 years back, the amount of opportunities that we had in the industry compared to what we have right now it has changed a lot. There are a lot of opportunities. In fact, I mean, I know we are not in a great situation that we have to work remotely. We have been hit by COVID. We have lost a lot of our loved ones. But if we look at it in a positive way, I think remote working has made it possible. It has made it feasible, and you can work from your home. And in fact, that has been extremely helpful for me because I can take care of my son. I needn't think about leaving him at a creche or with my parents and think about going back to work. I work from home. I take care of my son. At the same time, I'm able to focus on my work. So that has been one of the positive things because of what we went through recently. But remote working has made it possible. In fact, it has given rise to a lot of opportunities that were not present earlier. And I think we as women should definitely look at it from a positive point of view and see how can we use it. In fact, I mean, one thing that we do in Thoughtworks, and that is happening across the globe, a lot of other companies, there are women-specific boot camps, women-specific workshops that happen. One of the quotes that I love to sort of go back, read again and again is from Sheryl Sandberg, who happens to be the CEO of Facebook. She says, no industry or country can reach its full potential until women reach their full potential, right? This is especially true of science and technology, where women with surplus of talent still face a deficit of opportunity. So I think in every organization right now, there is a focus to bring in more women, not just because they want to increase the talent pool of women, because they see the potential that the women can bring. So yeah, that's about my journey. That's what I think about the women in my perspectives on women on tech. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Nithya. I had a couple of questions for you since you've been in technology for so long. What is the difference you see of how I wouldn't say women are treated, but how women experience their workplace from when you started to where things are now? There's a lot of things that have changed in the last 10 to 15 years, right? Like how Sneha mentioned, the way women are treated, the way women are looked at in meeting rooms, how loudly they have to speak, the words that they have to use. A lot of it has changed. There's a perceptible shift that has happened, at least in the last 5 years. What would you say is the biggest difference that you see from when you started to where you are now?
One of the experiences that I would like to share is 10 years back, I was in a project where the project was full of men. I was the only woman developer. And it was, I mean, anyone who would look at the table where I used to be working, there used to be a surprise that, okay, there's just a single woman. How will she be able to compete, right? And I think I also had that feeling within me, will I be able to compete? But things have changed. Not just in the organizations across the globe, especially because of the mindset shift that we see of the men, right? The way men look at women itself have changed because of the perspectives that they bring. In fact, the number of, I know it is still a very little less in terms of women's representation and leadership roles, but that has definitely increased. In fact, I'd like to quote that Sneha herself, the co-founder herself, is a woman. There are a lot of companies which have been founded and co-founded by women, and that itself is very inspiring, which was not the case, 5 or 10 years back. And same is the case with organizations. There are a lot of workshops, women-centric workshops, which are being run. Like I said, Vapasi is one of the programs that we run to sort of bring back women on career break. So such initiatives, such shifts in the thought process of men within the organization has definitely is in a good direction, as in the future looks very, very rosy, right? I would say earlier that was not the case, but the future now definitely looks great because of the effort that organizations and the folks within the organizations are putting, in fact, to bring back women as part of the organization.
Thank you so much. The next question I have is a very tech-related question. I see that you worked or you specialize in working across tech stacks, right? A lot of women attending today are freshers, or they're looking to come back after work, or they're looking at moving laterally. One common problem we seem to see is there's a tendency to not explore other technologies much. And Pramida from Thoughtworks, who joined us last time, spoke about how tech is agnostic if you have your basics right. It's not hard to shift to a different tech stack as long as your basics are right. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that and how you, since you worked across tech stacks, what would be advice that you will have to give to the women who are attending today on this specifically?
So that's actually a very good question. When I started my career, I think my focus was mostly on Java because the company that I came from specialized in Java. The projects were on Java. But when I moved to Thoughtworks is when I realized I can't stick to just a single technology because it again depends on the need. My suggestion or to the freshers would be ensure you focus on depth in terms of a single technology, and probably that is what I have tried. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of this term called a T-shaped, focusing on a T-shaped way of learning, where you learn a lot of technologies, which is sort of the line which forms the T, whereas the line which is the vertical, the horizontal line focuses on the breadth of technologies, whereas the vertical line of the T focuses on the depth of technology. The way I have learned is I would ensure that I learn a lot of technologies in the process when I move from one project to other, or to sort of learn what's happening in the industry. But when it comes to the depth, I ensure that I focus, or I pick one area. It could be the data science, it could be the DevOps, it could be one of the languages. Ensure that you have depth on that in that technology. For example, if you're focusing on Java, ensure that your depth is in Java, so that you will be able to relate to any other paradigm. You will be able to relate to any other framework. You'll be able to relate to any other technology, and you will be able to learn it pretty quickly. If you just focus on developing your breadth, you may not be able to get your basics right? One of the most important things to do is to get your basics right. Once you have your basics right, you'll be able to, you can master any technology that you get into. But for that to happen, you should have a strong fold in one of the technologies, and probably that is where you should be building your breadth on. And then you can make use of that to learn other technologies or other frameworks or any other paradigms as well. And it will be, initially it could be a little hard, but over a period of time, you will be able to get the knack of how to go about learning technologies. And that's what I've done, right? I started off with Java. I would still consider Java as that technology where I have a strong fold on. I know Java has come a long way in the past 10 years. But over a period of time, I've used that to sort of learn Python, be it Python or be it even data science for that matter, things around DevOps. And other technologies like .NET. It has been, it was a little tricky earlier, but over a period of time, I was able to get the knack of it. But yeah, ensure that you focus on the T-shaped learning curve, where the vertical line being the depth and the horizontal line being the breadth. So that is one of the ways that I've ensured that I'm up to date in the technology space.
Thank you so much, Nithya, for your inputs there. Since you also run the Vapasi program, and this comes from my previous experience, I see that women hesitate to come back to work, particularly in technology, because you get your skills or it gets outdated very, very quickly, right? There's an apprehension about coming back to work because I don't know if I'll be able to cope. Because I'm not able to cope, will they think I'm lesser of an employee? Will I feel valued? It's also about personal value than just how the company looks at you. What advice would you give to women who are coming back from a Thoughtworks perspective, and personally, since you've just come back and you didn't extend your maternity break, right? You came back immediately after 6 months, something that's very inspirational, because I think that's a point where all women make the decision of should I not. It'll be lovely to hear your thoughts on that.
One piece of advice would be, when you come back to work, something that I did and which was helpful for me was to set the expectations right with everyone who's involved, right? Starting from family till from the family till workplace. So I was very sure that I don't want to I didn't want to lose a touch on technology. I want to come back to work. I want to focus on my career. And so that was one of the expectations that I set even before I had a baby. After I had a baby, after 6 months, I had a similar conversation. I still have difficulties having that support structure in front before me, but still I had that conversation at home so that everybody is aware what my aspiration is. At workplace, it is all the more important because you will have your constraints. For example, the constraint that I have at the moment is I can't work for whatever reason between 6 and 8:30. The client for which I work are based out of US and Canada. So the time zone difference definitely comes into picture. So something that I did after I got into the project was I set the expectation with Thoughtworks as well as with the client that I'll not be available between 6 and 8:30 no matter what. But I can make it up in such a way that I can definitely get onto some discussions or conversations once I set things right at home and I'll be available for some time, even a little late. But that was sort of an agreement between me, Thoughtworks, and client, and that has worked wonders. That was one piece of advice that I got from other women who had come from maternity break or who have kids at the moment and who have had challenges, right? That is from an expectation standpoint. The other advice that I would give you is you may have lost touch with tech if you have taken a good amount of break, but if you're passionate, if your heart and soul is in technology, you will be able to sort of learn it very quickly. And that's what I've seen as part of Vapasi programs. When I did my first Vapasi batch, uh, the amount of enthusiasm that I saw in the women was more than what I've seen with devs with whom I have worked, right? They want to come back to work. They want to restart their career. So they put their heart and soul in what they want to do. But just be cautious that you cannot start big bang. You have to start slow. So you can get started with whatever technology you are already aware of. Brush up your basics. I think basics is where it all helps. The other technologies, it is just a matter of time, matter of fact that you will be able to learn them. Brush up your basics, ask for help. Don't hesitate to ask for help. That is another mistake that we do. We think that we'll be able to do all by ourselves, taking care of baby, taking care of work, and even when it comes to work, we think that, okay, I mean, if I ask this question, will they think that I am stupid, or is this a stupid question? Can I even go and ask? Should I learn it myself? I mean, shed those inhibitions. Just think that there is always somebody to listen to you. There is always someone who will definitely be able to help you. You just have to ask for help. Brush your basics when it comes to technical side of things. Rest of that you can always handle. You just need a bit of patience. You just need a bit of confidence. One of the other things that I've seen, at least in women who come back to work, I mean, I am an example myself, is initially I don't have a lot of confidence. Over a period of time, you start getting that confidence. So have that confidence, have patience, ask for help, set the expectations right. You'll be able to do wonders.
Thank you, Nithya. We have a couple of very specific questions on technology. There's another Aishwarya who's asked the question. I'm just going to read it out and you can answer. So I am working on JavaScript and have always worked as a full stack developer with JavaScript only. I have 7 years of experience, but the problem is I am only working on using frameworks like React, Angular, and many others, but I want to work on writing the frameworks rather than using them. Can you help me understand how to move towards such kind of development?
I know of women, or I know of colleagues who have worked with me, who have gone through this journey, right? It is again, it is again how we start looking at it. For example, if you have, I mean, I see that you've had a lot of years of experience in JavaScript, and you mentioned the technologies. I mean, that's still like hotcakes now. React, Angular, almost any project that we work on use React and Angular, right? If you want to start writing the frameworks rather than using them, get started with something small. I think you should get, if you want to, if your aspiration is to join a company and get started, you can always join a project which uses some of these technologies and see how can you start developing a small framework out of that. In fact, you can start showcasing that to the clients if you're part of a project. You have a lot of, I mean, I'm not just Thoughtworks, right? Even other organizations, they have a lot of communities which encourage people to sort of explore the way that you are mentioning, explore what you want to do. You can develop a small framework and demonstrate that in the communities which are already present in those organizations. They may have small working groups where you can demonstrate some of these frameworks. you needn't do it yourself. You can ask for help. You can have a pair. You can have a small group who can work with you so that you can come up with this. So I think what would be ideal is if you can, if you're already part of an organization or if you're joining a new organization, look for some of those working groups which are already present, some of those communities which are already present your idea that what exactly, I mean, when you say framework, you will definitely have some thought process, right? This is the kind of framework that you want to develop. Get started with those conversations, probably propose some of the thoughts that you already have. I'm sure there will be other people who would want to work with you and you can take it from there. And if you're already on a project, you can start discussing about such ideas within your project. And I've seen, in fact, in my experience, we have created small frameworks and we have showcased it to the client. I mean, after this, probably I can mention some of the frameworks that have that we as organizations have, we as an organization have developed, folks within the organization have developed. And I know of people outside of the organization who have also developed their own frameworks, and it is quite popular. Mountebank is one of a very, very popular mocking tools, which is not just used within our organization, but I have seen my friends, my friends outside of organization who have used it. So such frameworks get developed when you start having conversations within the working groups, within the communities, within your organization, and start pitching your ideas. In fact, some of the companies, right, some of the startups have they've started only because of some of the ideas that people start having in their head, and then they put it across to a larger group, and then it becomes a startup. So you can do something similar. Start with an organization, start with a small group, start within your project or outside of the project within a small group within your organization, and you can take it forward.
Thank you so much, Nithya. Thank you very much for sharing your extremely valuable inputs. For me, it was very inspirational. I'm sure it was for the rest of the women as well. It would be great if you can stay on for some more time. There are lots of questions that are popping up in chat, but it's time for our next speaker. So if you can stay on and answer some of them, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashwini. Thanks
again, Thank you for taking time out. Okay, thanks everyone. So we're moving on to our next speaker now. We have Ashwini Mutalik Desai from Medley Pharmacy, who's joining us. She's the software development manager, and she currently heads the platform team for identity and access management. She's particularly passionate about building and maintaining the organization's culture, which, as we all know, plays a big impact in how women feel at the workspace. And she cares deeply about it. So she has about 10 years of experience, and she's going to be speaking about her journey. She's worked with large companies, and now she works with a startup, and she'll be speaking about her journey as a woman in technology now. Over to you, Ashwini.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for the kind introduction. Let me just quickly share my screen. Very good morning, everyone. Thanks again, Aishwarya, for the introduction. My name is Ashwini Mutalik Desai, and I'm currently a software development manager here at Medley. And I'm an application developer since 2013. Today, I'm here to talk about how my journey in tech has been so far, and also to introduce you all to Medley. So let me quickly begin with my journey and how has it been so far. Right. So I also started my journey as a grad straight out of the college. Like most of y'all are here today to begin your journey. I was one of the 2 female grads to be hired from the campus out of total 8 women that day. It was with Thoughtworks, and I'm so glad to see Nithya today also from Thoughtworks representing for a similar initiative. I was there for a good 6.5 years, which is when I got to know about an opportunity at Medley. At Medley, I was the first female employee to join in the year 2019. It was a difficult move as I was in a stable job, and from there on, taking the risk with a startup was slightly nerve-wracking. However, this is paid off, and I think the testimony of which is the fact that I'm standing in front of all of you all today. It was not obviously intentional to be the first woman. I never thought of it that way, and I'm very gladly saying that I was never made to feel that way either. I have learned the most in my career, being able to contribute beyond tech and also interact with great individuals here at Medley. Given my experience, I would like to encourage every woman here to take risks and to be ready to move out of your comfort zone. Given how rewarding Medley has been for me and for my career, I have tried to be an integral part of ensuring diversity hiring here at Medley. Today, we have more than 40 women in the last 3 years in terms of women representation in Medley Pune. This is across all roles, and I'm very proud to say that we are leading on all fronts. While I have been talking about the women representation since day one of my journey, men have played an instrumental role in shaping me to become who I am today. It starts from the family, it starts from colleagues, it starts everywhere. I have been given enormous opportunities like today. My potential has been recognized by wonderful men who have been my leaders or my colleagues. While all of this is true, I've always had this lurking thought of having to see a woman closely uh, to see how a journey of a female leader is, especially in the tech industry. And I'm sure with initiatives like today's, we would have more representation in the coming days at all levels. And very soon, a day will come where we wouldn't have this feeling of not having to see somebody so closely. With this, I would now want to speak a little bit about who we are as Medley and what do we do. So Medley is a digital pharmacy which was founded in 2017 in Brooklyn, New York. The idea was to combine the age-old pharmacy business with the cutting-edge technology and to bring the best of the both worlds together, which in turn would help you improve the pharmacy experience, since healthcare is the second most spent area in the USA after food today. Given that Given that our founders are second generation pharmacy owners, they know the pain points of the traditional pharmacy experience firsthand. Hence, Medley was built to be able to solve the complaints and give a better experience to this wide consumer base of the pharmacy users that we have in the USA. In addition to solving the pain points of the patients, Medley also provides software solutions to doctors, hospitals, health centers, and insurance companies because they form the larger part of the ecosystem. If the whole ecosystem is connected by technology, made more data driven and consumer friendly, most of the things in the healthcare industry would be streamlined. Hence, Medley's goal is to work towards becoming one-stop solution for everything related to healthcare in the USA. Now that I've given you a little bit glimpse of what we do here, I would like to take this opportunity to speak about why Medley. First and foremost, it is a startup, and being a startup has its own benefits. There's an ample growth opportunity to grow. One has the opportunity to lay foundation of what policies should be in place, choice of technology to be used. There's a creative freedom to try out different things. Also, given that it's a product-based company, the journey starts from identifying what is to be built and then to innovate. It doesn't start from having a problem at hand and a timeline with which you have to develop something and give it to the client. One can closely see the impact on a day-to-day basis for the software being built, the revenue being generated out of it, and the whole life cycle of a product. We also have a very flat structure. Things don't work top down here. Everyone has equal opportunities and decision-making power when it comes to shaping the organization, technically or otherwise. We are also the flag bearer of diversity hiring, which is also why I think we are here today, sponsoring so many women as a part of this initiative. We strive to have fair representation across genders in all our roles. Medley also strives to make sure we give equal or rather more opportunities, give good support system for fostering growth via boot camps, via regular one-on-one guidances, via feedback sessions to make sure we have more representation and fair chance for everyone. We also have very inclusive policies, something that I'm really proud of. We are very employee friendly, and we have employee first approach that guides us. We have training and learning budget per employee per year, which is beyond the CTC that you get. This is to ensure that everyone has enough opportunities to grow, not only within the organization, but beyond as well. I'm also proud to say that we have menstrual leave policy as well for women. This is the first of a kind that I have in my experience seen so far. This policy also came into being as a result of women in the office bringing it up in a discussion. where we are also very flexible and accommodative when it comes to providing support in case of needing time off, being flexible with working hours, and also any other kind of cooperation that people might need. To top all of this, we have the latest and cool tech stack that the industry has today. We use Kotlin as a choice of language for backend. We use Micronaut as the web application framework for our backend, and React for the front-end applications. Our infrastructure is also entirely on the AWS, which is fully automated via code. We are also proud open source evangelists, and we do that by setting an example. You can use this link to look at all our open source repositories. We are also regular contributors to events like Hacktoberfest, and we have a good representation of people every year having a lot of open source contribution in the month of October. I'm sure you all must have imagined how culture at Medley would be so far based on what I've been speaking, but I thought I'll just add some pictures to add more colors to it. So as you see in the picture, we have a lot of fun with a lot of work that we do. We have team outings, we have lunches, dinners. The second image that you see is of the Women Day celebration that we had recently. We have music events. There is impromptu cricket and football playing events that we have in the evenings. Recently, because the operational office is also completely operational now, we have also started doing a Medley Tech Connect events, which is a monthly tech webinar that we have. We have started to have that in office, and this is a photo of the latest tech event that we had last weekend. A couple of more pictures. Yeah, so you see a couple of them are from when everyone was working from home. We try to celebrate all festivals, be it Diwali, be it Christmas, be it Ganpati, and also some swag, some goodies for good contributions for a Hacktoberfest shirt that you see there. All right, I think I've given a glimpse of what we are and why somebody should be joining us. I leave you all with the details of these two email IDs. Please feel free to reach out to us at punerecruitment@medley.com and punepeopleteam@medley.com for any queries that you might have around your career at Medley. You can also use the career space that I've added here to look at the open positions, and please feel free to share this with a wider audience and anybody else you think who could benefit and be a right fit for us. And if you'd like to reach out to me for any further questions or technical guidance or career guidance, I can help you with whatever experience I have, and you can reach out to me in the email ID that I've provided here. And that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini. I had a quick question for you. How different is it starting off your career at a big company versus starting at a company like Medley? I started my career with a big company and I moved on to a startup. And with tech being what it is now, the market the way it is now, the options are, it's unbelievable. And I think not specifically to women, but in general, people have queries on how will I adapt. And I see that personally you care about the organization's culture, right? So how different would it be from a learning perspective, starting off at a big company versus starting off at a startup?
Yeah. I think both have their own advantages, but I have really benefited from coming from a very structured, very organized background where it was a good start for me to begin with, to have the right foundation. But I think joining Medley was a very good decision for me because being a startup, one, you have to define the structure, be it for work, be it otherwise. You have to, but I also think it comes with democracy for choosing what tech do you want, why do you want to do it. And you can take as much time, there's no rush, you want to make it right. And because it's also a startup, you're running against time to be there in the market quickly. It's a very different challenge, but I think something that people should really take because if you are in the right startup, there's ample growth opportunities technically and otherwise as well. I can really say I have done a lot more tech hands down here in my last 3 years than otherwise.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Ashwini. I see that we have some questions coming up in the chat. We'd really appreciate if you can stay and if you're able to answer them. It's very good to get perspective of somebody who's working in a startup right now and who's moved from a very structured organization, it's good to know the different things that your company is doing. And from the pictures, it's very, very evident that you have a superb gender diversity ratio, and it looks like a super fun place to be. And I'm sure more women developers, they seem to be having quite a few questions, and it'll be great if you can stay on and answer. Thank you so much for sharing your inputs. We truly appreciate it.
Sure. I'll just try to take a minute and show this is the office. This is a cool space that we work out of. Yeah, because I'm here today, I just thought I'll just show it. Thank you. I'll stay around.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Ashwini, again. We now have the third speaker for the day. We have Veda, who's joining us from Sahaj Software. Veda has 16 years of experience in building small, large, and medium-scale enterprise solutions. She currently is the principal technologist at Sahaj Soft, and one thing that really stood out in her LinkedIn bio and from what we saw is that your mantra is fail fast, which is, it's very interesting to see that happen, and it clearly comes with years of experience in dealing with a lot of technology problems. So very happy to have you with us, and thank you so much for taking time out with the time difference and everything and adding value to everybody who's joined. Over to you, Veda. Looking forward to hearing you speak.
Can you all hear me now? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Aishwarya. That was brilliant and very kind of you. Good morning, all. It's 5:50 a.m., like Aishwarya said, on a Saturday morning in this part of the world I'm in. But what am I doing here on this call at this hour, right? As a leader in technology space, regardless of the firm I worked for or working for, I never found the playing field level. In my personal technology journey, I've not had a role model to follow and support me through this. I'm a mother of two girls, 8 and 5, and it's a very, people ask me, oh, you're still hands-on, do you still write code? And I'm like, yeah, so is there any problem with that? They go, oh, well, you've been in the industry for so many years. I've not updated my LinkedIn, but yeah, 18 plus years. And then you've got 2 children, you've got so many responsibilities to take care of. And then how do you deal with all of that? And I'm like, yeah, you're asking all the right questions, but the point I'm trying to make here is I've throughout the journey, I really struggle to solve the challenges you come across, regardless of what you say, how much support you get at home, the support you get in your organization. As a woman, you have to, there is that thing in the entire world, regardless of where you are, which country you are. Those challenges are there, they're given. You have to figure out a way to get through those, because I think we're all very strong to do all of that. And I'm a living example of that. I do write code. Even today, I'm hands-on, and I really enjoy doing that, which is why I'm still here, right? So here is an attempt to join forces such as Geektrust to balance the gender diversity and bring a lot of talented women into this magical world of technology. To be precise, bring wonderful hands of technologists into our world. And now, why women, right? Why do I believe in women? Because I believe in us because we're natural problem solvers. We solve every kind of problem life throws at us. Naturally, nobody even recognizes that, right? Because it's a given, which is why often they're like, oh, yeah, my mom will solve this, my sister will solve this, my wife will take care of this, my daughter will. That's the kind of thing you keep hearing around us. We're very creative and innovative in coming up with solutions. So regardless of your background and experience, you can make your mark as a coder in this world. So in my mind, programming language is just a tool. Learning syntax and semantics is not the hardest part. I really want to assure you that's what I've seen. I've worked through various technology stacks, various domains with difficult customers, easy customers, all kinds of people around. But language is not the hardest part. But what's the hardest part is breaking the mindset of, can I do this? Am I good enough? Is the most challenging problem for most women I have met over the last 18 odd years of my career in this industry. So here is a wake-up call to you all, passionate women. You all are here on a Saturday morning, which is why I think you all are very passionate and you care deeply about it, to break that imposter syndrome, break that bias that we have around us, and come forward to change our world and help us all to level this field, right? I guess that kind of summarizes why do I care? And then the next bit I wanted to cover is why should we care about writing good code? Yes, anybody can write code, right? That machine can understand. However, writing code that humans can understand, because we're all humans, end of the day, who's dealing with software day in and day out, regardless of what software you're dealing with. We're all humans. We need to understand what's in there. And that's where the beauty of clean code lies, right? That's where the goodness comes out. This is where I want to emphasize on the clean code principles. One must not forget and follow to write readable, maintainable code that is here to stay for decades and not become legacy in a short span of time. I've said to myself that, oh my God, this is legacy after like a year long on a gig or after a few months, and that's not great. You want to write clean code that stays for many, many years to come. So that's a bit about clean code. I mean, yeah. And then with these thoughts, I'd like to introduce Sahaj to you all. Sahaj, what is Sahaj? Sahaj stands for simplicity in Sanskrit. I'm pretty sure you all know about it. And it was started by a group of friends who were passionate about creating solutions that are simple in nature with ultimate level of sophistication to the customer's complex problems. I chose to join Sahaj a year ago after a number of years of solving problems for the customers in this space across the globe, across diverse domains. I was like, yeah, I was quite comfortable where I was. And then I was excelling in my career and everything was awesome. And people were acknowledging around me. I had the great support I needed. Everything was perfect. But still, I chose to move on after many, many years. And I stuck to this company I left for nearly 17 years. And then I made a move. And that was I was really nervous, of course, because once as a woman, you get in there, you work your way out, you figure out what works for you. And I have grown with that company as well. When I joined that company, we were like under 100. And then when I left, we were in thousands across the globe. So a lot of structure came in, things were settling down. But then I was like, yeah, I need something more. The hunger in me wanting to do something more, pushing myself out of comfort zone constantly kept bothering me. And I was like, okay, I need to do something different. I need to do something different. And that's where the unique core values that Sahaj believes in, trust, respect, craftsmanship, and curiosity, massively overlap with my personal values as well. So that's the bit that really attracted me towards the company. And hence here I am, along with 160 other colleagues of mine across the globe, across the geographies, spanning from US, UK, India, and Australia. And I do care deeply about diversity and inclusion over here. And hence, this is an attempt to kind of address that. So yeah, there's a lot of information available on our website to know more about Sahaj and our core values and how we work. I don't want to take this time to go through that. You can always do that yourselves. And then I'd like to share a little bit more about the different kind of roles I have played in my career and the kind of challenges I've gone through and how I've worked around it. There's a bit more time, so I don't want to bore you with a lot of company stuff. That stuff is always available, but you can always ask me questions anytime. So I started off as a techie, a coder, right? So when I started off, I left college, I finished college, and then that was the recession time. I decided not to go out and look for a job. And then I went back to my parents and I said, I want to join the school. My mom runs a school, so I joined the school and I was happy teaching the kids for a few months. And then I got bored and I was like, okay, this is not what keeps me going. I need to get back and figure out what I want to do in my career. And I got back. It took a while to land in a job, which was difficult. And then I landed in the wrong place. It just my personality did not suit the space I was in, so I had to leave and then land in another company. That was great, and I learned a lot from my colleagues at the time. Learned all the good, the bad, and everything about writing code. So part of being technologist is not just about writing code, right? You're making software. You've got to have that maker mindset. writing code is I would say, part of it, not the whole thing. So you got to understand the problem that you have at your hand. You got to analyze, how am I going to solve this problem? What am I going to need for this? And then you go into solutioning and then say, this is how I'm going to work through my way. And this is what the architecture is going to look like. This is the kind of technology that I want to choose because it kind of suits the problem at hand. Also, the things that you want to bear in mind is you don't want to pick anything that's cool out there on the market just because it's cool and everybody's talking about it. You don't want to do that. You want to look at, what am I trying to solve, and pick what suits the bill. Even sometimes that might not be the most glamorous thing you'll end up picking, but that's okay, because you're doing the right thing for the customer, you're doing the right thing for yourself, you're doing the right thing for the problem at your hand. Make all those decisions, and then you get to doing your test-driven development. Is something very close to my heart. I don't think I can write code even today without writing a test. It's sort of in my DNA, blood, if you like. I just cannot write code without writing a test. So I understand some people, it's hard for them when somebody says you've got to do TDD. It won't work like that. You've got to believe in it. You've got to see it firsthand working. You've got to see the value it brings, and then it'll automatically happen to you very, very naturally. So do your test-driven development, and then develop code and build the working software, right? So then it's also your responsibility to make sure whatever you have built works, right? So that's where you've built all your automated test suite. That's great, which runs as part of your pipeline. That'll get the software from your machine into a machine, which is somewhere out there and not dependent on your laptop. And then people can access that regardless of where they are. And also you'll have to do some amount of exploratory testing to make sure you've covered all the kind of corner cases, and then get that feedback from the customers you've built that solution for, get the feedback from the customer, and then work on it. Again, the whole cycle repeats in an iteration, right? So that's the kind of thinking I want you all to have, a maker mindset, not just, oh, I'm a coder, I'm only expected to write code, because that's not how it works. At least that's not how we do things at Sahaj. And that's where I would like to introduce our working models, right? We don't emphasize on roles. We don't box people inside their proverbial roles, saying you're a developer, you're a QA, you're a BA, you're a PM, you're a DevOps, blah, blah, but there's so many out there. There's one new role that comes up every now and then. So regardless of all that, keep all that aside. What's important is your maker mindset. And then you've got to do everything that you need to do in order to make sure you've built something, you've solved something, and you can be something that you can be proud of. So that's what we do at Sahaj. We don't have any roles. We form teams, really small teams, very nimble teams, and solve complex problems and deliver value to our customers. We do everything that's needed, whether it's analysis, writing stories, writing code, writing tests, writing infrastructure as code, deploying, doing your exploratory testing, and getting that customer feedback. We work directly with the customer. There's different names for that role as well these days. There's product owner, product manager, you name it, product analyst, I guess, some places. So regardless, so basically we believe in the customers know their problems the best, their domains the best, and we know the technology the best. So that partnership brings in the best of both worlds, and then you end up making magic. And that's how we work. So there's a conference talk. As soon as I joined Sahaj, because that's very unique over here, I found it very refreshing, because that's the mentality I've had from the beginning. And then I was like, oh my God, at least there is this organization that believes in it. And then the entire organization is following that model. I was very happy to see that. And then of course, it comes with a lot of challenges. I'm sure you have a lot of questions on your mind. It comes with challenges. It's not all hunky-dory and everything will perfectly work 100%. But we have worked through it. It's been 7-8 years we've been following that working model, and it works brilliantly well for us. That made me talk about it, to share this whole working model that I was really excited about last year in Agile India conference. It's out there on their website. You can go and have a look at it later on, and I'm presenting at the Lean Agile Europe as well very soon, and that's going to cover bits of it. So the more we talk about it, the more people will understand, and the more we break this boxed roles, and the better it becomes, and we build great software that we all can be proud of. Yeah, that's kind of what I had on my mind for this morning. Thank you very much. So if you'd like to know more, just feel free to drop a message, ask questions, and I'm happy to be around and answer any questions. All the rest to you all. Thank you. Thanks, Aishwarya.
Thank you so much, Veda. There's just one question that I had. Initially you spoke about how women, they're underconfident, right? They feel that they don't know enough, or they're not confident enough to vocalize how much they know. Yeah. And you closed with saying you come with a mindset that the customer knows their product best, and Sahaj knows technology best, it's great that confidence in knowing your tech best. There's a little bit of a gap there, right? When you don't see that happening with men too often, maybe because they haven't taken breaks, maybe because they don't have a confidence issue, or at least most of them. How do you bring about that mindset, or getting all of your women employees to adapt that mindset of we know technology best, and using that in conversations with the client, or building that confidence? Is it a challenge you've seen happen, or is it just something that in theory it could happen? And how do you fix that? How do you fix that confidence?
Yes, great question, Aishwarya. That has happened throughout my life. I have been a victim of that early days, not even early days, I'd say a decade ago. When I joined my team, there's this male tech lead. As usual, at the time, there's only male tech leads. There are very, very few female tech leads. I was a senior developer, and I was like, how does this guy know everything on earth? And I don't know this. Then you gradually figure out that they actually don't know everything. They are confident that they can figure things out. All they know is that they can solve a problem, and that we also know. It's just that assumption of, I need to know everything on earth in order to be a technology leader, or in order to lead a team or solve problems, is what I broke after a few years of realization. It took a while. It was not hard. It was not easy for me, which is why I said I really struggled to get here and feel more confident compared to what I was a decade ago. And then at the time, if I had somebody who could say this to me and say, hey, it's okay not to know things, it's fine. You can still lead the team. You can still, you know how to solve the problem the best. I would have been a completely different person today. Which is why I feel very passionate about sharing everything I've gone through, the difficulties I've faced, and I'm not saying I've been successful all the way. There are failures, and that happens to everybody, every one of us, and that's okay. It's totally, totally fine. Even men do. It's just that they don't talk a lot about it. They just picture that everything is perfect in their world. I don't mean to generalize it. Don't take it in a wrong way. I've worked with brilliant men around, great allies, great support. They're fantastic. What we need to do from our side is to spread the awareness and open up, and not be afraid of not knowing things. So what I did after that experience, when I stepped into my first tech lead role, the first thing I did was to say, I opened up my team's conversation with, guys, I don't know anything that the tech stack that we're using. We were using Golang at the time. AWS was new for me. This was about 8-9 years ago. I was probably, 5-6 years ago, 2017, just back after my second maternity leave, right? So there's a massive 15-month gap. The whole world has moved on. And then I felt like, oh my God, I don't know anything today. Like 15 months ago, I thought I knew everything. I worked hard, but now there's whole new stuff, and everybody's talking about there's Golang, everybody's talking about hosting things on AWS and writing infrastructure as code, Terraform. And I'm like, I don't know any of this, but I'm leading a team. Here I am. So what? I can pick up, I can learn. I've got the potential. I've got the passion. I've got the right priorities. And that was the mindset I went in with. And I did that on the first day. And the team felt, there were a couple of female developers on my team. And then they came up to me and said, we've not heard anyone say that to us before, the tech lead who has led us before. So creating that safe space for the team, regardless of whether you have men or women on your team, And then showing your vulnerabilities is extremely important to be a successful technologist. You don't want to, scare the other people around you. And that's the thing I follow even today. And my people who I work with absolutely love me for that. They don't say, you can't be a technology leader because you don't know A, B, or C. I don't take that anymore. Probably 10 years ago, they could say things like that and get away from me, but not today. That's sort of what has worked for me. So just be confident, because every woman has their strengths, and everybody, not just women, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. Work on your strengths. Go with your strengths and then work on your weaknesses, and then you can become a best technologist. I hope I answered your question, Aishwarya.
Yes, Veda, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it really stands out, the journey that you've had over the years, and most importantly, the fact that you don't want women to go through some of the stuff that you went through. And I personally believe there's a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child, and
Yes.
I think the same village is super important when you're growing in your career.
Yes.
The lived experiences of women who've been through journeys that you probably won't have to go through because times have changed,
Yes.
and the value that they can add to your career, I think it's something beyond books. It's beyond inspirational videos. It's beyond a lot of stuff. I think it's something that really reinforces what you need when you go into your career.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Truly appreciate you taking time out. I think there are some questions that are in the chat box. If you can just stay on a couple of minutes and answer the ones that are relevant to Sahaj, we'd really appreciate it.
Lovely. No worries. Thank you, Aishwarya. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk to all the lovely, wonderful women out there.
Thank you, Veda. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
Cheers.
Okay. Thank you, Veda. Thank you, Nithya. Thank you, Ashwini, for taking time out on a Saturday morning. And to everybody in the audience, we're really happy to see that we have this many participants, and we really hope that it adds a lot of value to you as you start off your careers, looking to move in your career, and you're looking to come back from your career. All of these women and all of these companies do fantastic work for women in technology. They're all very great places to work, and like we said before, they're the top sponsors for the bootcamp event that we're running for women soon. Thank you so much.